One single chart just flashed something for the first time since March 26th of 2020. And do you know what it means? As Moonboys worldwide jump for joy over Bitcoin's first bust above the 30K level in what seems like billions and billions of years. I have one flashing red warning you simply cannot afford to miss. Over the last week, Bitcoin has busted and thrusted above the $30,000 level, and more importantly, the second biggest cryptocurrency by market cap, Ethereum, completely busted above 2100 in a quick move in which many people believed we would get completely dumped on because Shanghai and Capella were revealed to the world and people were able to unstake their ETH, which actually turned into what seemingly could have been categorized as a massive pumpy event, which is the exact opposite of what many people thought it would do. But there are many much bigger things happening on the charts right now. And specifically, I think that if you hold altcoins, this video will get you very excited. But I want to start off looking at this. Deposits in banks obviously have been sliding with the Fed continuing to raise interest rates, and with a decent CPI that we received just 2 days ago, I think it's going to be very interesting what the next FOMC meeting brings in just a couple of weeks here, and it absolutely will affect Bitcoin. And leading into that as well, is this pivot actually coming soon? According to Nick Gurley here on Twitter, the Fed will pivot once the unemployment rate goes above inflation. Inflation is currently at about 5% year over year, and the unemployment rate is about 3.6%. It's getting very close. And a bad jobs report in April would do the trick, or May. It could be, this month or in May. And that could be enough for this to happen. We see the inflation year over year coming down, and we most likely will see the unemployment rate meet it there. And that is basically, and if you listen to these Fed meetings, that is one of the biggest things they're waiting for. They're really looking at unemployment. And today as well, a huge miss in U.S. retail sales. It's a sign that disinflation is going to be faster than expected, but there is still, TED Talks Macro says here, juice left to be squeezed. And there's nothing more that us Moonboys like better than having our juice unleashed upon the world. And Titan of Crypto posting this: Bitcoin 30,000 was programmed. Once Bitcoin closes above the center line of the Bollinger Bands on the monthly time frame, it will be time for the upper line to act like a magnet. And I have a chart that I absolutely am very excited to jump into with this as well with Bitcoin, and another chart that's even more insane than that. But again, we see this narrative continue here. Brazil's president, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, has called on developing countries to work towards replacing USD with their own currencies in international trade, furthering this narrative that we're seeing here. All the while, regional and local banks, this is very important, are big lenders to retail and offices, which offices have been getting crushed because nobody really goes into these offices. But if we kind of pivot over to Bitcoin, we see in a bull market, which right now we're in a bullish trend. It's very clear. This is a bull market. Whether it's short-term or not, right now is a bull market. And this is evidenced by Bitcoin being above this primary trend line, setting higher highs, and having breakouts, right? It's very easy to see that. Now, I still believe, and I've been saying this for a long time, I believe that we're still in the middle of a relief rally. I think, as I've been saying for months, you can go back and watch all these videos, right? All these videos are right here, documented online. I've been saying the same thing. I think that it's very likely we get into the mid-30,000s, potentially even 40,000s before any decent pullback. And when I say decent, I mean like 25 to maybe even a 40% dump. Okay, so that can be pretty significant. I mean, for example, what would that look like? Well, if we got a 25% dump right now, let's say 25, which is the low end of what I just said, that would bring us down to 23,000 US dollars from our current prices. If we got a 40% dump, that would bring us down to about $18,000 from our current prices. So, and when I say if we get maybe to the mid 30s or even 40s before we get that, again, we can kind of just look at what that would look like as well. Let's say right at about 40,000, a 40% dump would take us right back, right under the bone zone, right around 25,000, which is perfect. It lines up perfectly. And currently I'm up actually roughly about like $26,000 USD in profit on these trades, longing this market. If you're interested as well, sign up. Links below to Femex and BitGet are available to you. Massive deposit bonuses in addition Zero fees when trading with spot when you sign up with my link below. There are tutorials in the description as well and popping up that are very easy to follow along. So as I've been saying, if this is truly, again, still a relief and we're going to have a massive dump but then enter into a bull cycle, that's still overall bullish. That all I'm really communicating by saying that is that there could be a period of a month, maybe even like 2 months, where the price action looks kind of bearish and a lot of people get very scared, because we see that happen all the time. But now if we look at this is what I think is massive and very exciting for altcoin holders. So Ethereum, the last time we had this bullish cross on this 5-day chart, Ethereum was trading at about $180-ish, okay? About a 20x below what it currently is, or a little less than that. $180. Actually, it went all the way down under 100. So yeah, a 20x roughly lower than we currently are. We had this bullish cross basically at the bottom, and Ethereum went from around $100 to nearly $5,000, right? About a 50x increase. Then we had a bearish cross at around 33, and Ethereum went below $1,000. And now for the very first time since that cross back in March of 2020, this is only the second time we've had this since this decade, since the 2020s. We just got this cross actually about a couple of weeks ago, in the midst also of this gigantic ascending triangle, which is a very bullish pattern. As we've been breaking out of it, right? You wonder why momentum's really picking up over the next few weeks, even if, again, because this narrative plays in perfectly. If we get some sort of backtest dump here and retest these levels around 1500, 1600, 1700, and then go up, that would be literally a textbook beautiful breakout. The reason this is so bullish as well is because now we have had the structure built up and the dumpiness behind us to where now when we get dumps, they play in perfectly to these bullish patterns. That is one of the reasons this current setup for Bitcoin and Ethereum and these altcoins is so bullish, is because now we have truly pivoted over these last few months, setting these higher lows, switching to now getting even higher highs also, right? We see these lows, we got a higher low, we're getting higher lows here as well, right? There was 3 consecutive massive ones, and we had all these lower highs over and over. Now we have our first higher highs. This is extremely bullish for the next few months, for the long term. Stock market also not looking too bad. That's not hurting anything. One thing I do want to highlight, though, is we're still within the bone zone, which is like 25 to 32,000. 32,000 is a level I've been warning about for months, is very important to get above. It was like massive resistance, or actually support, back in the bull market where we bounced many times. And we're still within the bone zone. So again, you have to be prepared that we might get pullbacks here, and it's totally normal. The good thing about this now, though, is within this wider context of everything going on, if we get pullbacks, they are very, very likely to be consolidation backtests before continuing more upside. Because now we have bullish structure on the macro, which we only had bearish structure on the macro up until about like November of 2022. And only over these past like 5 or so months has a very bullish macro trend started to shape up. We're seeing disinflation change a lot quicker than I think people were expecting. So again, every narrative is on the side of, yes, what I'm saying is most likely going to come to pass. Everything is on the side of this. Now, one thing I do want to caution again is that I do think the stock market could end up having like a little double top here. I personally think that what we've seen over the past month or two with Bitcoin decorrelating a little bit from stocks in terms of in the face of this banking crisis could end up being extremely good for Bitcoin. And I'm losing a little interest in the stock market. Now, we cannot discount the stock market. We absolutely have to watch it. But all I'm saying is I see the very beginning signs that Bitcoin can flourish, can pump on its own without the stock market. Say as an example, during a banking crisis. We have seen that for the very first time. That's why that was so big. We've been talking about it since it happened about a month or so ago. And again, just very big. Not to mention, guys, we're still within this wider context, massive falling wedge, which I think is going to end up being extremely bullish for Bitcoin. Still, we've been talking about this since back in, I believe we brought it to the attention of everyone back in like September and October. The very first people, I believe, talking about this gigantic 1.5 year long falling wedge. And I can There's plenty of videos talking about this. I showed them like over the last week or so. But again, I just think so many bullish possibilities with this right now. And I do believe now, after having this massive bust, it will do what it always does, which is potentially cool off a little bit before having continued upside. And that could mean a week or so of dumpiness. And as I've tried to explain in the video, exactly what that would look like as well. But yeah, currently up still over $26,000 in profit trading these moves. If you guys are interested as well, you can sign up with the links below where you can get all those extra bonuses if you sign up with those links. Tutorials popping up as well. It takes about 2 minutes to make an account and 0 fees when trading spot on these exchanges using my link below. Without any further ado, that's it for me.